So I have not left the house since Saturday because of all this weather, all this snow. And I'm starting to lose my mind. This is the first time I've left the house since Saturday afternoon. And it is
That's a long
Tuesday.
time.
Yeah. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 3 days. Literally. And it's not because, so like when I choose not to leave the house, like any other time, like when it's my choice, it's fine.
But when you're forced to.
When it's like, you can't leave, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
It is a lot. So I am glad to be out of the house.
See, and I didn't mind being kind of like chill because I just got back from vacation.
That's true.
So it's like, I missed home.
You were like, I get to breathe.
Yeah.
Get to relax. But then you did not get to relax the whole time.
Yeah, no.
You were out in the mess. So if you're not from Kansas City area, we got plummeted with like a blizzard.
Like, I feel like it was like 18 inches. I don't know.
Literally. It was so much snow.
It was. And more's coming.
On Friday.
And possibly next Tuesday.
Well, I have to drive to St. Louis next Wednesday and then home on Thursday. And I'm getting my hair did on Monday. So I'm going to need the snow to get it together because your girl needs to get these locks on point.
What are you doing with your hair?
I'm getting my extensions put back in. I'm going to my regular lady.
I like your hair.
I don't. I feel bald.
It's up to you, girl. It's your life.
It's
your
one
head.
of those things. It's one of those things that it's like,
head. I'm going to adjust this just.
If you move that mic one more time, I'm upset.
I just feel like it's like right in my face.
I'm going to be moving this mic the whole time we're here.
Am I good? Yeah, I'm still good. So we're good.
Okay.
I just don't want it like right in my face. It feels very like,
Yeah. No, I get it. I have to have it in my face. And I don't know why, because I am loud. I am naturally a loud person, but I have to have it.
Remember when we did middle school musical and you weren't loud and I was loud?
And everybody like had to run laps and sing around the gym because I couldn't project my voice.
Oh my gosh.
I felt bad. Yeah, I felt really bad.
He was like, Hannah, sing. And I would sing and you would try to he would try to get you to match
He's like, do what she's doing. I'm like, I can't.
Yeah. It was easy for me though, because I wasn't supposed to pretty sing. I was like an old principal. So I was able to like.
Yeah. And I was this dainty young to be a teacher.
Yeah.
The leader of the class. I think that's how the song started. I don't know.
I mean, to be honest, like those were the days.
Oh man. I know. I have some wild memories from middle school, but they're so fun.
Yeah.
Like kids now, I don't feel like it's fun. You know?
No.
It's mean.
Middle school, I would never
It's
go
the
back
Wild
and do
West.
it.
I would not choose to go back to middle school in 2024. Like
I don't even like middle school kids.
I mean, I taught middle school, you know, I taught 8th grade and it was okay. I liked them, but I didn't ever have to be a middle schooler in this day and age where social media is so prevalent. And I think that's a good transition into what we're going to talk about today. So nice job, because we're going to talk about the different stages of development that Erikson came up with many, many moons ago.
We're going to make it fun.
It is going to be fun. It's going to be debatable.
Yes. We're going to make it fun.
There's a line in Parks and Rec where Ann Perkins is trying to be friends with Ron and Aubrey Plaza's character. What is her name? April. And she's like, we're going to have a conversation and it's going to be friendly and it's going to be amicable. And so that's what this feels like. It's going to be amicable. I don't remember the exact line. Jenna used to say it all the time at work. But anyway, so we're going to dig into what the stages of development look like.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about kind of what happens if those needs in that stage are not met, what that can look like as an adult. We're going to reminisce maybe on some of our little experiences in each of these stages. And then there's a debatable topic that I came up with each of them. And I can't wait to hear what you think as an individual and as a mom with your own kids.
That's going to be fun. That's a good point.
You bring a couple different perspectives to this. So I'm excited. So without further ado, Sunday Society, grab your coffee, get comfy, and let's take back Sunday. So I want to talk a little bit, I want to give some background on this topic because not everybody went to college for child development and family development and might not know what Erikson's stages of development are. So he created this theory. It's how we develop. It's one of the most influential and popular theories of development. So if you are in social work, if you are in the education world, you know what this is. Like, you know, and maybe even you don't. Like, when you hear about it, you're like, oh, yeah, I remember that, you know. It talks about and describes the impact of social experiences across our entire lifespan. Erikson was interested in how social interaction and relationships played a role in the development and growth of human beings. So his theory was based on what's known as the epigenetic principle, which I had to Google that word because I didn't know what that word meant. It's the study of how behaviors in the environment can change how our genes work without altering our DNA, which is wild in itself. Like, I want to look into that.
Yeah.
So it's like how it's almost like nature versus nurture, it sounds like.
But like kind of talking about DNA in there too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, okay. So it's crazy.
I'm here for it.
I'm here for it. I do think that our environment can affect how we are. We adapt.
Yeah. I feel like I always am like trying to figure out like true crime, love true crime. I want to know like the why.
Yeah.
How was this person raised? What was their background?
How can two people from the same family turn out so different?
Yeah, like all of those things just are very interesting to me. So I love this.
I do, yeah.
Because it is like, you obviously, like as somebody who worked in the foster care system, there are certain times where you're like, yeah, I get it. Like, I know why this kid is in the situation they're in because that's what they know and that's what they grew up around. But then there's other situations where you're like, I have no idea.
Yeah, you grew up in a loving home.
Yeah.
No, you know.
Like, I feel like psychopaths and sociopaths are where I'm like, how does that work?
Right.
Where does that come from?
There is a gene. There is a gene that if you...
I would love everybody to get tested to see who has the gene.
It's crazy. I almost want to know.
Yeah.
Because there's 5 of us, like in my family, 5 brothers.
How
there's
cool would
5
that be?
of us.
I mean, not that your brothers would have, you or your brother would have the gene.
But the thing is when you have the gene, you're predisposed to that later in life when it's coupled with an adverse upbringing. So like if you grew up in a really bad home, you're more likely to develop these psychopathic tendencies or sociopathic tendencies. That's a whole other episode we could have. Off topics.
I already am going to hit it. You got to watch The Worst Ex Ever on Netflix.
Is it like a documentary thing?
Yes.
Yes, I will.
It is so good. So they have different ones, but the one that I watched the 2 that I watched last night, I think are the most recent. Mind blowing. Like this guy, the woman that he almost killed, 3rd woman that he had done that to.
You've got to be kidding me.
Yeah. The 2nd woman shaved her head and held her captive in her own apartment. And she was able to get away from him at a grocery store and had somebody take her to the hospital.
How are you going to hold me hostage in my own house that I pay for with not your money? Bro. Bye.
That's
where Brinley gets that from.
Yep.
She had her head on a swivel the other day. It was so funny.
I was going to tell you this in the car. Another off topic. So I told Emmy today, I was saying bye to Emmy.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, bye, love you. And she's like, bye. And then I'm like, bye, Felicia. And I did like the hand swerve. And I said, can you say bye, Felicia? And she did the exact movements of my body and everything. It was so cute.
I love it.
And then I said, yes, girl. And she said, yes, girl.
It's crazy that she looks more like you than your own daughter does.
It's so weird.
It's wild. Like when I see her, I'm like, man, those rat lift jeans. So back on track. There you go. We brought it all the way back. Genetics. So anyway, this epigenetic principle, which is the study of how behaviors and environment change how our genes work without altering DNA, it suggests that people grow in a sequence that occurs over time in the context of a larger community. So what I want to do is talk about each of these stages. There are 7, I think. And then we're going to talk about what main developmental purpose each stage serves, why it's important, and then what happens if it's unresolved and what that could look like later in life. And then, like I said, we have a little hot take and a debate question that I have for each of these. So then I also want to see if we can remember like things that happen. Obviously, this first one is infancy. We're not going to remember anything that happened in that first year of life, but it is trust versus mistrust. So that is the first stage of development. This stage revolves around the infant's reliance on caregivers and we talked about this in our attachment style conversation. It revolves around their reliance on caregivers for stability and care. If those needs are consistently met, you develop trust, and if not, mistrust and insecurity can form. Establishing trust provides the foundation for secure relationships and confidence in the world. A trusted caregiver helps the child feel safe and cared for. Obviously, we talked about secure versus insecure attachments. You could have a secure and trusting, relationship as a child, and then something happens later in life and then whatever. But this is where that usually comes from.
This is like probably the most important stage.
Because that is where your brain is developing. And we've both worked in a system, like in a foster care company organization. And we got to see firsthand what happens when this stage is unresolved. And it can lead to fear, suspicion, and difficulty forming relationships later in life. And that's just like best case scenario.
Yeah.
The individual may struggle with dependency or an inability to rely on others. And like I said, like that's the best.
I think the craziest thing that I ever saw was like when I saw a child's brain scan that was a healthy child, what they were supposed to look like at 4 years old, versus a child that was had experienced trauma, and how different the brain grew.
It is insane.
It's crazy.
Even having a traumatic like birthing experience can affect an infant's brain.
Crazy.
It is. It's wild to think about. So this stage is from 0 to 1 year of life, and its impact on midlife. So I want to preface this by saying that a midlife crisis usually happens whenever you have something unresolved in one of these stages.
Oh.
So how this stage, if unresolved, can impact you in your midlife is during a midlife crisis. Unresolved mistrust may manifest as a fear of change or difficulty in seeking support. This can exacerbate feelings of isolation and stagnation, which is crazy to think that in your first year of life, if you are not given if this need is not met to build trust, that you could have an issue later in life with isolation and stagnation. And like, you just won't, each of these stages builds on one another. So it's like math. If you don't know the basics, when you get to algebra, you're going to have no idea what's going on.
Me in high school.
Freshman
in
college.
Year, did not understand algebra. Sophomore year, I was lost.
Same.
I was like, different class, please.
So speaking of algebra, this next stage is in early childhood for 1 to 3 years, and it's autonomy versus shame and doubt. Speaking of algebra, so much shame in that class.
Oh, yeah.
So the key point here is that between years 1 and 3, children begin exploring independence, I didn't ask our debate topic.
I also have a conversation starter, so you go ahead.
Okay, so I did not finish with trust versus mistrust. So we're going to, if we had Julia, we would do a cool little reverse sound. So the philosophical question the philosophical question for this stage is, can I trust the world around me to meet my needs? Mm-hmm. That is kind of the imposing question here. The hot take is that helicopter parenting creates mistrust in the world by shielding infants too much from discomfort.
Oh.
And then the debate is similar. Does protecting a child from all potential harm actually hinder their ability to build trust in themselves and others?
So I think there's a fine line.
Yeah.
As a parent, I think that you have to be there to show that you are supportive and going to have your child's back and help them along when they fall. But I also think you have to allow them to feel what it feels like to fall.
Yeah.
And to really understand, like, you can't protect them from everything and you can't make everything okay for them.
Right. Because then they won't, and this, I'd never considered that is how they build trust in themselves.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing I struggle with, is trusting myself to choose the right people in my life, to make the right decisions for this, to do that. My whole life, I thought it said I didn't trust other people.
You don't trust yourself?
I don't trust that I've chosen good people.
I mean, I feel like you're doing pretty good.
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
forget about me.
I know.
Now I'm the wheezy one.
Get you the little penguin toy.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I agree with you. I think that there is a fine line. As a teacher, like the experience that I bring from education is helicopter parenting does not teach your children how to advocate for themselves and how to learn how to fall.
Yeah.
So like the analogy that I would use here is in football, you have to learn how to get hit because you can get hit the wrong way and really get hurt.
Yeah. I love that analogy.
And if you don't practice like how to take the hit when the game comes and you get hit, you're going to break your collarbone. But if you've practiced and you have that skill, you're going to know how to take a hit to where the impact is reduced. So, yeah.
I have a question.
What's up?
So it's kind of similar. How do you think parenting styles today influence a child's ability to form trust in the world? So I feel like we are parenting in this time a lot different than we were parented.
Very much so.
So example would be when I was a kid, and I'm not saying my parents, I'm just saying like
parenting in general. Yeah.
Where
in
like
the 90s.
Children were to go outside.
Oh, yep.
They were to be seen, maybe.
I lived in this house when my parents were like that.
And not heard.
Yep.
You let the grown folks do the grown folks thing and you kids go play and get out of the way.
Yep.
And now I feel like as a parent, it's very much like your kids are kind of the center of everything. And we're just kind of living around them.
And see, I don't think that's healthy either.
Yeah.
As someone who's not a parent, I say it, I guess take my feedback with a grain of salt, but I don't think that it's healthy for kids to be put up on pedestals either, because then they think that the world revolves around them. And then you get kids like Gypsy Rose, who when they get told
we are done talking about Gypsy freaking Rose.
I knew I was going to be able to say her name one more time.
We're done. We're done.
But seriously, you get those kids.
Do you feel like I put my kids on a pedestal?
No.
So that's what I'm saying is like, where is the in-between? Because I try to be that in-between. I try to be like, a skirt.
I mean, you
know your place.
You tell your kids no.
But like, I also feel like my life kind of revolves around them. So I'm just trying to figure out where that.
So in my opinion, from the outside, I think there's a difference between your life revolving around your kids versus you being involved in your kids' lives or you allowing your kids to be involved.
Okay.
So what that looks like, and bear with me because I'm stringing this together as I'm going. When the world revolves around your kids, you have no life. You would not do this.
Yeah, that's true.
You would find everything to do that has to do with your kids.
Yeah.
Their lives take priority over any and every need that you ever would have.
Yeah. I
don't
like
think that's healthy.
The younger the kid is, though, the more your life really does revolve.
Well, sure. Well,
because they need you.
Yeah, yeah.
My kids are getting to where they don't need as much.
Brindley wanted to go home so she could have some quiet time.
I said, "Do you want to come watch us record?" No, and no one's at home. No, please let me go home so I can have some quiet time.
Girl just wants to sit and scroll on
I have
TikTok.
Security cameras. The door is
and
locked.
She's safe. Yeah,
she is safe.
We're not putting
her dad
kids in
and
danger.
I are both 5 minutes from her.
Yeah,
if need be.
It's not deep. Don't come for anybody here ever because
don't cancel me.
Yeah, not today. Not
TikTok.
Today. We're promoting autonomy, which is the next thing that we're talking about on here.
But yeah, that was just my conversation starter for this.
I think that's a really good.
Yeah.
I think that's a great conversation to have with. I would love to have, now that we have a big couch, I'd love to have a couple people on here and get different people's experiences, get different parent experiences.
With trust, I feel like with babies, I'm thinking about babies, we have less parents doing we'll let them cry it out kind of
That
method.
Is so true.
I don't agree with that. And if you do, that's fine. Do you? That's your child. That's your business.
You don't agree with what?
I'm not a cry it out kind of person.
Oh, yeah.
It's okay if they're crying for a second or, whatever.
Sure.
You don't have to, it's not like babies shouldn't cry.
You don't have to instantly pick them up every single time they make a noise.
Also, if you are a parent who wants your baby to be in bed with you and you have a safe way of doing that, by all means.
Do it.
Guess who doesn't like to sleep by themselves? And I'm 35 years old.
Oh, man.
Brindley crawled in my bed the other night because Zach was gone working, and I didn't even say nothing. I was like, oh, good, now I'll sleep better.
Yeah.
I think there's bad things about the way we parent now, but I also think that we are understanding that what we do with our children affects them like long-term. Forever.
Yes, it does.
And I think our parents just didn't have that information.
Yeah. And it's not that they were intentionally doing something that would cause long-term damage. No. They were doing the best they could with what they had. And when you know better, you do better.
Michelle's favorite saying, my favorite saying now, when you know better, you do better.
And because it's so true. Mm-hmm. If you know better and you still continue to do things the wrong way, I'm sorry, but natural consequences suck.
My son just had a big uh-oh moment the other night. It involved my parents, so I took him to my parents' house, and the way they reacted, I was like, where were these parents when I was growing up?
They seem to get a lot more grace and patience the older they get, right? But it's because they know better.
Yeah.
And I think, or they're just tired.
I mean, I was like fuming, and they were like, it's going to be okay. And I'm like, what?
They were calming you down.
Yes. I was like, what?
That's so funny. My parents are going to be the same way with Declan and Adam when they grow up and the new baby. So early childhood, between the years of 1 and 3, we have autonomy versus shame and doubt. So this is when children begin exploring independence. Successful experiences foster autonomy, which is like independence. Mm-hmm. And then while over-criticism or failure leads to shame and doubt about abilities. Between years 1 and 3, over-criticism or failure leads to shame and doubt about what they can do. This is an important stage because it fosters self-control and independence, teaching children to make choices and handle basic tasks. If this is unresolved, so if autonomy is discouraged or criticized, like the example I think of with this age group would be like reading and turning the page, and parents get very like critical, like don't turn 7 pages or don't do this or don't do that. You want them to learn how to do it. You want them to go through the task and teach them how to be independent.
Well, and it's a little early, but they start doing that in preschool. And I know that's like 4, but like sometimes it's 3, just depends. They start doing that preschool where like I know with Corbin, they would do like a family style lunch, and they would let them dip
Head
stuff
Start.
up.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so when I worked at Head Start, that was a big thing. It's literally what you said. It's called family style. We all sit, we pass the food around, and they put the food on their plate. They pour their own drinks, and it's to teach them how to do that.
Yeah.
Because if it's not, like I said, if it's discouraged, like autonomy, if you're told like, no, don't do that, you're doing it wrong, or like you can't do that, whatever, or it's criticized, the child may develop shame and doubt their abilities, and it can lead to dependency, low self-esteem, and difficulty asserting oneself, which we know lead to insecure attachment styles as they grow up.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to be a theme. I bet it will be. But so in middle adulthood, unresolved autonomy issues can lead to feeling stuck or incapable of making meaningful life changes, fueling frustration and dissatisfaction. So like if you've been stunted your whole life on doing things or making choices, when it comes down to it, like let's say you really need to make a big decision about your job, you're not going to feel like you can. So the philosophical question here is, am I capable of doing things on my own, or must I always rely on others? Now, I don't think I have a problem with independence. I think I have a problem with over-independence.
Woman.
Like, I help shovel my driveway. I know that you don't always, I don't know that you categorize yourself as such, but you are a pretty independent woman. You can do just about anything that you want to.
Except if it takes like wood and nails and a tape measure.
I don't think so. I think that you could. I think that you could if you needed to, if you really needed to. I believe in you. Autonomy. You got this, girl. So the hot take is that letting toddlers fail without intervention is better for their long-term confidence. It's so hard. It's so hard. Especially, I imagine like teaching them to put their shoes on or like put their clothes on, and it's like watching them and you're like, you're doing it wrong and we gotta go.
Yes. So when Corbin was little, I kept him clean. Like if he got his hands dirty, we washed them. I used a wipey, cleaned him up.
Yeah.
I tried to get him to finger paint, and like he would not put his fingers in the finger paint. So I finally just pushed his hands in. And he was like, I need a wipe me. Like, he was freaking out. And I thought, oh gosh, I've taken
What have I
it too
done?
far. He's a boy. He's got to get dirty.
Get him dirty.
Yeah.
That is funny.
How do you think society's emphasis on early achievement, like potty training and reading, impact a child's sense of autonomy?
That's a deep question.
So, like, I feel like in our generation, although we know better, we do better, we also are pushing our kids and constantly comparing them to other people. Like, they're like, oh, it's, for example, I say it all the time and don't even think about it. I'm like, oh, Ridley walked when she was 9 months old. So what? Like, at the end of the day, who cares if she was 1 or 9 months? It was weird. She looked like this tiny little baby walking. It was creepy.
I was 7 months. My mom said the same thing. She's like, it was very strange. But they were bored and they wanted to play with me. Her and my aunt raised me that first year. But I also think that we are trying to teach kids too early.
Yes.
Like, the things that we're teaching in preschool are things that, like, we were getting taught in kindergarten.
Kindergarten, girl. Yeah, they expect you to already know the things.
They expect you to count to 20. You have to be able to identify shapes, colors, numbers.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what?
And no accidents.
Yeah. And I'm like, dang.
We had kids having accidents in kindergarten.
Left and right, girl.
Preschool, they're like, you better have it together.
Listen.
Don't be sitting your kid.
Really? And it's crazy because it's not that kids are different than we, like, the kids that are born
their
now.
Anatomy is not different.
No, their brain development is the same. I don't understand why we're pushing kids to learn so quick, because we're going to, the next one, the initiative versus guilt, we're going to talk more about overscheduling kids versus like letting them be creative and explore.
Oh yeah.
But
I like that.
My debate question for you is, should parents always step in to prevent frustration, or is failure a necessary step for autonomy?
Failure is a necessary step.
Yeah.
And it's really hard when you're a loving, involved parent.
So hard. Yeah.
Not to step in. But sometimes you have to.
Have you seen the TikTok where the
or
mom...
sometimes you don't have to.
No, you have to let it happen.
Let them, yeah.
Have you seen the TikTok where the mom is like, don't grab it, it's hot on the
My
bottom.
gosh. And they're like trying to grab, and they're like, don't grab, and she's so calm the first like 3 times.
Yes, and then she's like, it's hot on the bottom.
Yeah.
I think that is, first of all, that kid was like 14 years old or maybe 10. Either way, older than 3. Older than 3, but you have to let your kids fail, because I bet you he never grabbed another pop from the bottom, you know? Yeah. It's that sort of thing. Like, you have to, in order to learn, you have to fail.
Yep.
You don't learn anything if everything is always given to you. You don't learn anything if your parents, so we talked about helicopter parents. There's also this thing called lawnmower parents who aren't hovering. They are blowing everyone down. They are taking out every single obstacle that you could possibly have in your life. And I don't think that's good either.
No.
That's terrible. All right. So our next step happens in preschool, ages 3 to 6, and it's the initiative versus guilt. Mm-hmm. And at this stage, children assert control through planning and initiating activities. That's why we look at, in preschool, do they initiate play? Do they know how to go talk to a friend and say, hey, I want to play with you? Encouragement fosters initiative, while over-restriction or failure may lead to guilt. It's important because this initiative allows children to experiment, take risks, develop a sense of purpose, and encouragement helps build confidence in pursuing goals. So if this is unresolved and you have overly strict control or punishment that may result in guilt, it results in fear of failure and hesitation in decision-making, and it can stifle creativity and ambition. And in your midlife, this guilt may resurface as regret over not pursuing dreams or taking risks earlier in your life. So the philosophical question here is it okay for me to explore and act on my own ideas?
I mean, I think so.
Yeah, I would say so. So this is the hot take, is that pushing kids into too many structured activities stifles their creativity and sense of initiative. I think this is preschool, so 3 to 6.
Yeah, so I think it's good for kids to have organized activities. Mm-hmm. I feel like they learn, especially like sports or whatever, they learn teamwork and whatever. But I mean, I feel like it's a kind of everything in moderation.
Yeah, I think so too. And that's the debate question is, Are modern parents overscheduling kids to their detriment, or is structure necessary to foster growth? And I think that it's, again, like with the trust versus mistrust. And honestly, with like stepping in with your kids too, with the autonomy versus shame and guilt, there's a line. There's just a balance.
Yeah.
I think that those kids, they need to start at some point to learn, like maybe at the upper ranges, what structure, like get into routines, because there are studies that show that consistency allows you to feel safe.
Yeah.
So because you know what
really
to
love
expect.
consistency.
Yes. And it's proven. And that's something like as a teacher that they talk about is like, you should have clear, consistent boundaries in your classroom so that when students come in, they know exactly what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
They know exactly what's going to happen if this, XYZ behavior, this is the consequence.
Yeah, because could you imagine if you were like passive all the time and then one day they come in and do the same thing and you've had a hard day and then you're like, sit down. They're going to be like, whoa, what just happened?
Yes.
And you know what I mean? Like,
and they don't, it's when kids that are living in chaos come into like an environment like that, it's just totally, it's crazy. So I do think that structure is important, but not for a 3-year-old. I think 3-year-olds can just go chase butterflies.
Well, and now we have, maybe not 3 years old, but we have like 5-year-olds who are like, hey, do you want to play? I have Roblox on my phone. Do you have a phone?
Yeah.
And it's not like how
so
we were,
crazy.
Where we were like, it was that creativity.
You had to go outside and play.
Or in preschool, we were like dressing up, or we were playing house, or we were playing with the kitchen food. We were building things with the blocks. Like, I don't feel like kids get that as much now.
No, because we did that in kindergarten. And now, like I said, it's more now in preschool. And that's why, like, there's the Montessori schools that are very unstructured and like very creativity or, based. And then you have like public school preschools that are very much similar to a public school kindergarten K-12. Where it's very routine.
Exactly.
Exactly. And then you have like Head Start that I think is a nice combination of both.
A moderation kind of thing.
Yeah. Where you have an encouraged choice and you have options for kids to go be creative. You have options for them to build. They have the little fireman outfits that they can dress up with, and I think that they're, again, moderation.
Yeah.
And it's all in balance. So our next one is ages 6 to 12. This is when you're like school age. Industry versus inferiority. So children focus on learning, productivity, and competence. Success leads to a sense of industry, while repeated failure results in feelings of inferiority. So it's important because developing a sense of industry through achievement helps children build confidence in their skills and abilities. So think, this is middle school. Well, this is kindergarten through 6th grade, pretty much. If it's unresolved, repeated failure or lack of encouragement may lead to feelings of inferiority, making the child believe they are incapable of its success. And this can result in poor self-worth and avoidance of challenges. And there's something called, there's a self-fulfilling prophecy, where if you hear over and over again, like, you're not good enough, you can't do this, you're bad at math, blah, 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 you start, you become that. You don't even try. And I think that falls here in this.
There are kids that are like, you're going to be just like your father. You're going to be in jail. And they're like, I'm going to be a loser in jail because that's what I've been told. And they just believe it. Yeah.
The impact on midlife is that there's this reflection on career achievements or skills that can amplify those feelings of inferiority. So leading to dissatisfaction with accomplishments and a fear of irrelevance. So like, if you don't feel in this group, this ages 6 to 12, you don't feel like you've been given this confidence, you could feel irrelevant in your achievements in your adult life, which is crazy. So the philosophical question then is, am I good at what I do, or am I destined to fail? Which, it's crazy that that's the age, like 6 years old is when this starts. But the hot take is that participation trophies harm children's abilities to develop a real sense of accomplishment. And that is a hot take.
So as a parent, I think that it's great that every kid is celebrated for their try. But as a competitive person, I think it's ridiculous that you get a trophy for just showing up.
Isn't it crazy how there's two sides to you with that? Because as
like if my kid didn't win, I'm like, oh, but you still got a trophy.
Yeah. And see, I'm the same way. As a competitive person, I'm like, you didn't win. You don't get this, blah, blah, blah. But then as a coach, I was like, you guys did so great. Like, I don't even care if we don't win a single game. Like, it just changes your perspective. But then the question is, do participation awards encourage effort, or do they undermine the true development or the development of true industry? Because if everyone's going to get an award anyway, why work hard?
I mean, it's the same if you look at like certain types of societies where everybody would get paid the same. Like, what's the point?
That's why communism doesn't work.
Yeah, like why? Like, what's the point of being a doctor?
Yeah,
it's so. I mean, I get it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You just don't want their little feelings to get hurt, but then at the same time, it goes back to that autonomy versus self-doubt and trust versus mistrust. Are we preventing that failure because it hurts us? Because it hurts our feelings to see our kids not succeed?
Yeah, probably.
Is that our own bias that we're looking through?
It's probably our own ego.
There you go. Exactly.
So, I mean, I know like my kids are at the point where if they got a participation trophy and they didn't win a game, they'd be like, but we didn't even win a game. Why are we getting this?
Corbin would be like, I don't want that.
Yeah, you throw that away. But yeah, Brinley would be the same way.
Yeah.
Like, I would be like, you did, like, after when we had softball, like, you did so good. And she'd be like,
but we lost.
By a lot.
Like, she was so upset after her first basketball game. I'm like, you made 50% of the points, but she was so upset because of what that one girl or whatever said to her. I was like,
you guys suck.
Okay, so 8-year-old Karen, goodbye.
Okay, you were like the MVP. You're shooting shots like Kobe. Shut up.
Exactly. That hurt my feelings a little bit.
That kind of dated me.
It did.
Curry. You shooting shots like Curry.
At least you know.
I was like,
at least you know.
Man, that kind of dated me.
Michael Jordan. Shaq. I'll date myself. All right, so the next is adolescence. Which,
hold on, girl, I got a
question. Oh, my
bad. So this is school age. Do schools focus too much on academic performance, leaving other forms of achievement and industry undervalued?
Yes.
Yeah. Adeline doesn't even have any fine arts. No fine arts.
What?
She can't even be in choir. They don't have it at her school. Now, her school is small.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Our school is small too. We had like 60 kids graduate.
Right.
Maybe
class of 68. I don't know. We were 68. 68 strong, baby.
So why couldn't it have been one more?
One more. Then we all could have high-fived at the end.
Yeah. But no, like, some schools don't have like trades. And I'm like, that is just as important as academics.
It's such a dated philosophy or like mindset that you have to make good grades and go to college in order to be successful.
Yeah. I wish I knew our school counselors right now. I would be like, yeah, Miss so-and-so.
Like, if I could go back, I would not be in mountains of debt for a degree I don't use.
So that could have led you to your path. Like, who knows?
Yeah.
But I just feel like our school, and I get like funding matters.
Yeah.
But like, we focus a lot on like the test taking portion.
Oh yeah, everywhere.
And not as much of like, what are you going to use in real life?
Exactly. And it's because, like you said, it's for funding.
Yeah.
If your scores don't fit in a certain percentage compared to other schools and compared to like the state and national average, you don't get funded.
Yeah.
And that's terrible. That's terrible.
Okay.
So moving into adolescence, years 12 to 18, the glory years, the best years of our lives, allegedly.
I do not agree.
This is when the stage of development is identity versus role confusion. And let me just tell you, I remember being an adolescent. I want to
know what I messed up here. So
okay, so
this is what I'm excited to hear about.
Okay, adolescents explore their personal identity, values, and direction. Successful exploration leads to a strong sense of self. Confusion leads to an unclear sense of identity. And let me just tell you that I think I stayed in this role until 30 years old. I don't think I truly determined my identity until I was 30 years old. But anyway, this is important because forming a clear identity gives adolescents a sense of direction, values, and self-understanding. It's critical for emotional and social independence. So it's like knowing who you are and what you stand for, you know? And I think that I probably did have a good idea of like my values and things in high school. They've just changed, you know, as they typically do, I would expect.
You grow and things change. Your perception of the world changes.
I would hope so.
So yeah,
I would hope so. So then if it's unresolved, role confusion can lead to uncertainty about one's purpose, values, and place in society. This may cause insecurity, lack of direction, and susceptibility to external influences. So like being easily persuaded into making choices because you want to feel like you belong.
I definitely feel like I, at some point, felt that.
I honestly think everybody between these years feels that way.
Yeah, like this is the step that we all struggle with.
Yes, because it's such a transformative step. It's such a big stage in your life.
12 to 18?
Yeah, that's puberty.
So many things happen.
Puberty alone is enough to...
Typically, like your first time with somebody is in that time.
There's a lot of experiment.
You're like middle school through high school, becoming an adult.
So many changes happen in this time frame. And all of these experiences kind of help you determine, okay, well, I didn't like how this turned out when I did this, or I didn't like that this person did this. So I believe this and I stand for this, and this is okay, but this is not okay. And it's super influenced by the people that we spend our time with, our friends. And now in this day and age, social media.
Yeah.
You know? So this impact on midlife, I feel like, is pretty obvious. A midlife crisis may emerge as a reevaluation of identity, with individuals questioning who they are and where they belong. I think this is the biggest one. Like if you don't truly figure out who you are and like what your values are based on like deeper meaning versus trying to fit in, you're gonna have big issues when we get to this later stage. This can lead to impulsive changes, switching careers, ending relationships as they attempt to find themselves. And I kind of feel like I'm in the middle of something like that, like trying to figure out what my purpose is now outside of the education world. But I don't know that it's because I don't know who I am, because I feel like I have a pretty good grasp on who I am and like what my purpose is. So the philosophical question here, which is huge for ages 12 to 18, who am I and where do I fit in the world?
Yeah. I feel like, that's how everybody feels. Like, who am I? What's my purpose? You know?
Yep. And the hot take, which, shocker, social media is both a powerful tool for identity exploration and a breeding ground for role confusion.
100%.
Yep. So the question is social media helping teens find themselves or pressuring them into curated, inauthentic identities?
Second.
I agree.
Second part of that.
I agree.
100%. Everybody wants to look the same, be the same. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it is crazy
like
to
you look at these boys that are like
identical.
14 to like 18. I can't ever even tell who my kid is if I'm like at the high school.
I know.
Where's my kid? They all look alike. Well, he cut his hair a little bit, so it's a little bit easier to see.
Yeah, but
like, when
Corbin's in
longer,
this.
Yeah.
Corbin's in this stage right now.
Yeah.
And I don't think, though, that he is as consumed by social media. And like, because maybe he is on TikTok and things like that as much as Brinley is. I feel like Brinley is very much... Yeah. Even though she's in like the industry versus inferiority.
Yeah, but I think
she's good.
That phone puts her into that category.
Yes. And I think that she's trying to figure out who she is at a younger age than is typical.
Yeah.
Because of social media. And you see her try to emulate what she sees on, like the challenges and stuff.
Or like we get a little drama, like we're drama that day. And I'm like, what are you watching?
Exactly.
Her little scenario, dramatic Mr. Darman or Dr. Dar,
oh
whatever.
My gosh,
Mr.
I
Beast,
can't stand Darman.
It's a good purpose.
It's good.
It's supposed to teach good things.
But my goodness.
But it is like a child soap opera.
Yes. And some of them I'm like, this is not appropriate for children.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I think social media is trying, it definitely, I don't think that it helps kids figure out who they are.
Yeah.
So now we're into young adulthood, which is us.
Which is We're not in young adulthood, are we?
Yes, girl. 19 to 40 years old. I'm like, praises be. I'm still a young adult. Hey.
We ain't young.
But it's intimacy versus isolation. And the focus is on forming deep, meaningful relationships. And I will say that I did not form deep, meaningful relationships until I was in this age group.
Yeah.
Success obviously leads to intimacy and connection. Failure can result in loneliness and isolation, obviously. Building meaningful relationships promotes emotional support and mutual trust. And then intimacy fosters personal growth and connection. Failure to form these close bonds can lead to loneliness, isolation, and a sense of unfulfillment. This may also contribute to difficulty managing vulnerability and emotional closeness. Again, that insecure attachment style.
Mm-hmm.
So in middle adulthood, unresolved intimacy issues may lead to feelings of loneliness, dissatisfaction with relationships, or regret over missed opportunities for connection. And that's kind of how it affects you in your midlife, because we're getting close to midlife. We're almost there. And then the question is, can I build lasting connections with others? So that's kind of where we are with our life. Can I build lasting relationships with others?
You know way too much.
Huh?
You know way too much. We are in this thing.
We're in this, girl.
You are never getting
in there
rid of me.
like swimwear. We are meaningful.
You're not getting rid of me, and
No.
I'm not getting rid of you.
No, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I really think that in the last couple years, we've been able to build a meaningful relationship. Whereas, when we're kids, when we're in high school, that relationship is so... We're still trying to figure out who we are.
Yeah,
we don't have a clue.
We're not friends anymore. I'm mad at you, so I don't want to be your friend. And it's like so, like
I'm gonna pass a note to you.
Yeah,
I hate you. Don't talk to me.
Yeah, so surface level.
It is. It's very surface level. It's very vapid. There's my $20 word for the day, vapid. But then I think, so in this stage, I don't think that it's necessarily like romantic relationships. I think that it is also friendships. Mm-hmm. And it is crazy that we have maintained a friendship for so long.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we've had moments in our lives where we have not been on speaking terms. It's been a long time. To think that we have been through all the surface level bull hockey for Pam.
Bull shrimp.
Bull shrimp.
That's Brinley's thing. When we were on vacation, everything was bull shrimp.
We've been through the surface level bull shrimp and we've come out on the other side.
Yeah.
Whereas there are, friendships that I had in high school that I don't have anymore because they weren't really rooted in a whole lot and they weren't meaningful in the long run. But then you probably have these people too, the friends that you meet in adulthood that you build these relationships with. And it's like, you feel like you've known them your whole life.
Yeah. I mean, to an extent, I actually am going to put my vulnerable self out there a little bit and say, as an adult, I don't feel like I have a lot of meaningful relationships that I've made as an adult. Like, it's almost like I don't trust people enough to let them in that close. So, I have to know you since,
we need to dig into some of this.
I have a very small amount of people that I would consider, know who I am, really know me. And the others are just kind of
arm's length.
Yeah. I would say one that since I had become an adult has become one of my best friends.
Yeah.
Didn't know me as a kid. I didn't know them as a kid. Yeah. And I've let them completely in.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple of people, but really I don't.
But quality over quantity, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said that right. I said it backwards. I was like, wait a minute.
Quality over quantity, always.
We want a lot of friends, not good ones. Because, when I think about it.
I tell my kids that all the time.
Yeah, I can count on one hand the number of, meaningful friendships I have.
But, you have met people that you are now friends with through work.
Yeah.
There is not one single person in the last 3 years that I have met at work that I would consider somebody who is a close, I've let them in that way.
Yeah.
Could be my title too, because it's hard.
Yeah. It is hard because it's isolating. Boss. Yeah. You're at the top.
You have to know, I'm not your friend.
There's
at the end of the day, I'm friendly, but I am not your friend.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
That is true.
I don't know. Because I just feel like I don't know. I feel like I'm missing something there.
And I think that your position of power does impact that for you. Because, like, you know who I'm talking about. You know that Laura is my, like...
Laura, and then you have your
Jenna
friends...
and Emily.
Jenna and Emily. Who now... Oh, sorry. Who now that you don't work there are still talking and doing
every day.
Things.
Well, not every day, but yeah, every other week we have a Wednesday night movie night where we do a Google Meet and watch a movie. I fell asleep at the last one. They were like, Bianca, we're so close to being done. Wake up.
That's vulnerability right there. Falling asleep.
I couldn't even help it, girl. I couldn't even help it. But it is because, you know, Laura and I, we were content partners. We did the same job on different sides. We had to work close together. And sure, we could have just been like literal teammates. Like, yeah, I'll do this, you do that, blah, blah, blah. And we don't see each other. It really did just blossom into something amazing. Like, because I don't make friends easily. I'm not a person who was like, I need more friends. I'm like,
and I am friendly with so many people that I would consider, like, if I introduced someone to you, like, for example, Levi. When I introduced you to him at that concert, I was like, hey, this is my friend Levi. Levi, this is my friend Bianca. Yeah. But, like, that's not the friendship.
There's levels. There's like tiers.
Yes. Yeah. Levi's a great person, but he doesn't know like my deepest, darkest moments of my life like that. You know
and
what
I mean? Think when we went on their podcast, they really figured out how close we were.
Probably.
Listen, you've seen me inside and out, literally and physically. Like, you've seen me naked.
Yeah. I mean, like,
you helped me after surgery, like, get dressed. Yeah. You helped me put the pad in my underwear.
Like, nurse wasn't doing anything. I was not impressed.
Yeah. I mean, it's just,
but yeah,
it really is.
But I would love to meet people as the person that I feel like I've become. Yeah. I would love to meet people like that now.
You got to get a job that's on the streets, girl. And not on the streets.
My nose is itching. On the streets.
That's not what I meant. Boots on the ground is where I was going with that.
Like where I have equals. Because in that
peers.
Building.
Because you don't. You are at the top. You are the top. And it's lonely at the top. I've heard that expression before. I'm not at the top. I'm kind of close.
Kind of is.
But it's lonely up there. Because you can't connect to anybody in a meaningful way.
I mean, I tried, but at the same time, again, there's that line of like, I'm your boss. And like, if something goes south, I don't want you to think.
You can't blur that line.
Yeah. Like, I need people to, and that's to protect them and me kind of thing.
Exactly. Like, if I would have met Laura and she were the principal at that time, we would not be friends like we are. Yeah. Because it's hard to have that balance, that imbalance of power in a friendship. Now, if in the same career. So, like, if she were a principal somewhere else and we were friends before, not a problem, not an issue. But because, you know what I'm saying.
I just need to go do things and get out of my comfort zone, I think, to meet people.
I mean, or just be I mean, I'm not doing that. I'm fine with everything the way it is.
But you did meet people in this stage of your life.
Yeah, I did.
I did. That are your friends.
Yeah, I've been fortunate because, like I said,
I need friends, guys.
I mean, in the last, like, since I entered the workforce, I have made, and this is what year is it? 2025? Probably the last decade. Yeah. I've come out with 3 people that I would consider close friends. And I mean, in the work.
In recovery, I feel like I've met people that I am friendly with. Yeah. But still, there's like this level that I don't let
You're very guarded.
Yeah.
Like you have a shield up. We could dig into that off camera if you want to. But here's my hot take.
Okay.
Is the rise of hookup culture is replacing genuine intimacy with superficial connections.
Amen.
The hottest of takes. Because the question here, the debate is, does casual dating empower young adults, or does it make it harder for them to form those relationships, those meaningful relationships? And I am here to tell you, casual dating has ruined my life.
What that mouth do?
It talked back. Can't wait to bleep that out. But no, I hate the casual dating hookup culture that we live in right now. I don't feel like you can have an opinion because you don't know, you old married lady. But it sucks because, and I think that social media again and like dating apps have really ruined dating for everybody, because you have 50 people for the one, like, okay, this one isn't super interesting, but here's 50 more that I can like instead. Like, here's 50 more people to give me the attention that I want. Instead of trying to build bingo. Because instead of taking the time and learning who people are, you can go switch it off to someone else who's going to give you exactly what you're looking for.
You didn't respond quick enough, or I didn't like your response next.
Girl, if you could
I still think we need to do speed dating. I will be your wingman.
I know. Guys, this is the best idea. Tell them your idea.
Okay, so we're going to go to speed dating, and I'm going to go before Bianca, so and I'm going to be a hot mess. I mean, I'm just going to be the weirdest hot mess, so that when they get to her, they're like, oh, thank God, somebody normal.
Yes, she's going to set it up so I am the best thing they have.
And they're just like, oh, yes, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10.
Not crazy.
This other lady, how did she even get in here?
Oh, security. I think that'd be fun.
I do too.
No, we should do that. We should try to find a speed dating thing.
We totally should. Hopefully we can get like little glass cameras. And everybody can be a part of it.
Little GoPros hidden on our jewelry. That'd be so much freaking fun. Okay.
That'd be so much fun.
All right. Do you have a hot take question?
So not really. It's just with the rise of dating apps and remote work.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Is it, forming those meaningful relationships easier or harder because you have the access?
Super hard.
So you have more access to people.
But not in a meaningful way.
And
I will tell you, going back to work in a workplace is because I'm not meeting people. And I want to meet somebody. So now we're going to switch into the next phase of our life that we have to look forward to in the next couple of years.
I thought that said gravity.
Gravity?
And I know
gravity gonna be happen.
Literally. I know these stages, but literally I thought that said gravity, and I was like, what?
Gravity's coming for us, girl. Gravity took me in high school. So middle adulthood, ages 40 to 65 years, we have the generativity versus stagnation.
My dad is still in this.
Yeah, my parents are both in this. So the key point here is that individuals strive to contribute to society and support the next generation. Success fosters a sense of purpose, while failure may result in stagnation and self-absorption. So you feel like you are doing something bigger than yourself, essentially.
I feel like this, though, has kind of become like younger generations, like purpose, or like what's the trend right now is like, we got to think about our future. And
true. I really have noticed that some of these are, because like the identity versus role confusion, I think starts a lot younger now too because of social media.
Have you ever seen like 21 Jump Street?
Yeah.
Like the new one.
Yeah.
So like when he's like, yeah, this car, and he's like, dude, aren't you worried about the environment?
Yeah, it's like not cool. Lame.
I feel like that's these kids, that's their generation now.
No, I agree with you. I do think that it would be meaningful to kind of revamp these stages of development.
Look at how they are different.
Yeah, update the ages and maybe add some more. Maybe we can do that, like this huge social research. Anyway. So
because we have all the time.
We have all the time to do that. So the importance of this stage is that contributing to society and guiding the next generation gives life purpose and sense of achievement. Sure. If it's unresolved, the lack of contribution may result in stagnation, self-absorption, and feelings of unimportance. Individuals might feel disconnected and unfulfilled. The philosophical question is, how can I contribute meaningfully to the world around me? Which I do agree that could easily fall into our generation or like our stage of life. The hot take is that hustle culture glorifies stagnation disguised as generativity.
Ooh, can you dive into that a little deeper?
So are people truly contributing to society through endless work, or are they stuck in a cycle of self-serving labor? So hustle culture is like, I always got to be doing something.
Make that money.
But is it meaningful?
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
That's kind of how I would dig into that, is that it's like sitting in a rocking chair. Like you're moving, but you're not going anywhere.
Or I'm making, stacks upon stacks upon stacks. See, I'm not that old. Stacks upon stacks upon stacks. But I ain't doing nothing for any generation that comes after me, and I'm not doing anything for the world around me.
Yeah, it's not meaningful.
Yeah.
It's just like surface level friendships. It's surface level contribution. It's not really, it's busy work, essentially. Like when teachers give homework that's not really going to contribute to the learning. That would be how I would equate that. So this is the stage where unresolved conflicts from earlier stages can create this psychological baggage that may go unnoticed during the busy years of your young adulthood, but resurface during the middle adulthood when life slows down and you actually have time to reflect. So that's when you get your midlife crisis. When life finally slows down and you're like, I have no idea who I am. I have hustled my whole life, or I have, what is the quote from Shawshank? Get busy living or get busy dying? Either way, you're busy. I don't know. Anyway, so the first, a lack of trust in stage 1 can lead to reluctance to seek support during during a midlife crisis. Guilt in stage 3 over unfulfilled dreams may turn into a desperate need to, quote, catch up through impulsive actions. Inferiority in stage 4 can fuel dissatisfaction with achievements, leading to self-doubt and despair. The midlife crisis in generativity, which is such a fun word, versus stagnation, you really reflect on what did you contribute to society, your relationship, your, quote, your legacy. Your midlife crisis or a midlife crisis may emerge when you feel that you failed to make any kind of meaningful impact or that life lacks purpose.
Yeah.
And your symptoms include questioning one's career, relationships, achievements, and life choices, often accompanied by a desire for drastic change, career shifts, impulsive purchases, or lifestyle overhauls. So that's when you go out and buy the little red Corvette, or what is that?
I feel like I had a midlife crisis, but not in middle adulthood.
Which, like we said, I feel like these stages could be adjusted because I do think that you went through a little something.
Maybe they're not linear. Like maybe you can pop through.
What a thought. That is a good idea. But yeah, you went through something. You went through a little something.
Which time?
I mean, there was the time when you quit your job after a couple months and then dyed your hair blonde. And that was pretty recent.
Girl, that was 11 months of my life.
That was that long?
Yes.
Wow.
11 months of my life.
Never mind. I take that back. That's a long time.
Definitely.
The hair was something.
I need to get a hold of my hairstylist. I need a trim.
Need a trim?
Bianca.
Trim. Talking to me.
Last time.
I was like, you got people
cut my ends off.
Yes, I did.
We watched lots of videos.
Yes. There's actually, you can find anything on TikTok. Really? You can really teach yourself how to do anything. But yes. When do you think you had a midlife crisis?
I feel like during my addiction, that was probably some kind of midlife crisis.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Like trying
towards the end of it. Yeah.
I think like I was looking for something that I felt like I was missing. And I feel like that's what that sounds like, is like you're in your life and you're like, but I'm missing something. Like, what is this? What is this?
I wonder which stage you feel like you missed something.
I don't know. That's what I was trying to figure out.
We can dig it. Well, I mean, we've gone through all of them that we could have been through. Yeah. So, I mean, I wonder if it's intimacy versus despair or identity versus role confusion.
Yeah, I don't know.
We could talk about that.
Definitely, like, my very young childhood, it was nothing like that. Because I was listening to those and I was like, yeah. But, like, the older school age.
The harder ones. The tougher ones, for sure.
And then I was going to ask you, do you feel like that you can achieve what you're supposed to achieve in this stage of your life? Like if you're doing something that is not traditional. So like you don't have a traditional successful job, or you aren't, staying home, you're not a stay-at-home parent and you've, raised kids. Like say you work like a minimum wage job that barely pays your bills and you never had kids and you just feel like you're just going day to day. Can you still feel like you're supposed to, like with a goal?
I think you can.
I think you can too, because I don't think it all comes down to money.
No, but I don't think so either. It's what
my brain
you.
Thinks success is money.
Well, then that is let's look at industry versus inferiority, because that's what that sounds like. Ages 6 to 12. I feel like that could be something worth looking into, because you learn what success looks like and what it's, is success tied to.
Are there homeless people that are successful?
I don't know. You would have to ask them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm not
and that
poking
ties
fun at homeless
No,
people.
and I think that ties into your identity. If you know what your values are and what you believe in and what you stand for, that's going to determine what success looks like for you. I'm not sure that somebody that is homeless is going to think that this is where they wanted to be.
Yeah.
I think success is tied to your identity, who you are and what you feel like your purpose is.
Or, for example, let's say a woman who has a husband who she doesn't have to work, she's able to stay home, but they decide or can't have children, so she's not a mother, she's just a stay-at-home wife.
A housewife, yeah. A
Is
homemaker. A
homemaker, is somebody like that you can't really look at material things to say you're successful or not.
Yeah.
But if that's what they feel like is their meaning in life, is to take care of a home, take care of their significant other, then yeah.
And I think that could look different for different people. Some people are going to be like, I am so unfulfilled in this.
Yeah.
And other people are going to be like, this is exactly, I can do everything I want to do.
Boy, howdy, let me tell you,
I will be the best homemaker you ever seen.
Zach Brown, who? Sugar Daddy, hello.
That dinner gonna be ready by 5 p.m.
Yes, I'm gonna make homemade bread. I am going to clean every day. I'm gonna have little projects that I be working on in whatever little room that nobody sees in my nice house.
I'd feel so fulfilled. I'd be so fulfilled.
Me too.
So let's talk now then about the last stage, which is one that you have probably a lot of experience in your career. It's late adulthood, 65 plus, and it's the integrity versus despair. And this is a sad one. When I learned about this in college, this one's really sad. So the key point is it can be if you're in despair. Yes. Yeah. It can be. So this is when you're reflecting on life. Individuals either feel a sense of fulfillment, which is integrity, or regret. And that's the despair based on how they lived. And at that point, you can't go back, So, it is what it is by this point. So the importance here is reflecting on a well-lived life fosters a sense of peace, wisdom, and satisfaction. And failure to find meaning in life can result in despair, regret, and fear of death. And I feel so the individual may feel bitter or that their life was wasted. And I think that people that have that good relationship or that healthy, view of death, like my grandma, who was a hospice nurse for many, many, many years, death is just another thing. It's not a big deal.
It's a part of living.
Yep. But I have other people that I know that I think fear it because of the way that they've lived and because of the circumstances in their lives currently. I have one that has integrity and one who is going to be in despair. And it's very sad. So the philosophical question is, did I live a meaningful life? And that's going to look different for everybody.
And it kind of, that last stage starts to build on the next stage, the middle adult.
Yeah.
Definitely builds into that old
age.
Yeah.
Did I do enough? Did I do enough? The hot take, this is an interesting take, is that the focus on bucket lists distracts from meaningful reflection in later life.
Oh, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
bucket lists are experiences and things that you want to say that you've done in your life. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I guess certain bucket lists might be pointless or whatever, but I feel like that, I think those are important. And
I also think that maybe the bucket list, fad, or I don't know what we would call it, is trend. There we go. That bucket list trend is for younger people now versus people in their 60s.
Yeah.
Like you and I, we could talk about how we have a bucket list. Mm-hmm. Like these are the things we want to do. And I think that we have more foresight to do it versus when like a bucket list, the movie came out and it's like things you want to do before you kick the bucket. And it's like, you can choose to do it now because we can. But I think that looking at it at this age, it might be more harmful. You know, like these are all the things I wish I would have done.
Yeah.
But so is chasing experiences in old age a way to find fulfillment? Or does it prevent people from genuinely accepting their past?
I really think it depends on the person.
Yeah.
And it depends on where they are in this stage and in their life.
Yeah.
And how they feel.
Like, are they chasing things because they're in despair? Or are they doing things to just finish that fulfillment?
Yeah.
You know?
Like, are we doing it because we just want to say it's done?
Yeah.
Are we doing it because it's the experience and like really living in that moment?
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, how do you think society can better support older adults in achieving a sense of integrity and purpose instead of despair?
See, I'm not sure that society can. I feel like you have to do those things for yourself. And you have, in order to, I think, live a fulfilled life, you have to be successful in each of those stages. You have to learn trust. You have to learn autonomy. You have to feel like what you're doing is important. You have to feel like you are leaving behind a legacy.
I do think in like what we do with senior living, like there are ways to let, like, instead of every day being the same, like every day, we're going to move everybody. This isn't senior living, but this would be like in a nursing home or like memory care. We're going to move everybody into the same room. We're going to do the same activities every day. And we're all going to sit here together because, and instead, like really looking at who those people are and where they came from and how we can help support them in this last chapter of their life. I do think that we can. And as like family members, like I do think that there is a way to like be a part more.
Yeah.
Because I see both. I see very involved family.
Yeah.
In this old age, and then I see family that are just like, yeah, well,
hands off.
Yeah.
Type. Yeah. And so I think that the integrity versus despair goes more to the individual. Do they feel like what they did was enough? Did they feel like did they feel like they lived a meaningful life? I do think though that there could be a stage after or before this one, between middle adulthood and this, because people are they're living a lot longer, you know. 75, 76 used to be the age expectancy of people, and now it's probably pushing 80 or 90. So I do feel like there could be another stage. I think that we could help individuals in our field, and family members can help them remember and show them and help them understand how meaningful their lives were.
Yeah.
You know, because you could have a grandparent who has no idea that what they did for you as a kid affected you now as an adult. Like they need to know that. So I do think that, I don't know if society is involved with that, but like, I think that
I just think
family members can do that.
Society can make people in this stage feel forgotten or not important.
That's true. It is a forgotten community of people.
And I just think that if we shifted how we view them and how we treat them, that maybe, and now they could also, there are certain people that could also shift how they treat other people too.
Yeah.
You get some older people that are just really.
We have like a go-to phrase that's like, when they try to act, you know, maybe act like their generation, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
We say, we don't talk like that in 2024. Or it's 2025 now. So it's like, oh, it's 2025. I don't think we say things like that anymore.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of the vibe that it's like, you gotta learn. But also, I do think that these senior living communities that I had no idea existed, I had the impression of like nursing homes, and
now girl, they doing all kinds of fun activities.
It really is. They're like retirement communities.
Yeah.
They really are.
But then you do have
truly, and like skilled nursing
that
facilities.
Are just like really sad.
They are. And
I mean, our local.
Oh, it's.
I mean, people don't
deplorable.
People don't visit like they should there. I mean, I mean, I know when I worked there, that there were people that never had a family member come in.
And that's so sad.
Yeah.
That's so sad.
But yeah.
I think that's I think it is good that this community, that cohort, that group of people should be told more often how important they are, and that they matter, because then I think that will help them have that integrity at the end where it's like, I did it. Like, I really did make a difference for somebody.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I've got for our stages of development. I feel like we had some pretty good discussions, meaningful conversations, if you will. Do you have any final thoughts for the collective?
I thought you were going to say for the class.
Any thoughts? Any final thoughts for the class?
No, I mean, I think we really talked about everything.
Yeah.
Everything. Yeah.
All right. Well, don't forget to like us on Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, TalkTick, TikTok.
Instagram.
I think I said
X.
that. X? Are we on X?
Yeah, girl, we are on X.
Oh, that sounds like
I don't know if anybody else is on X following us because it's a new thing, but we are on X.
Well, we're on X, everybody.
And for people like me who are old,
Twitter. We on Twitter. Yeah, so like us on all the things. Follow us.
Send us messages. We want to hear from you.
Talk to us. We're so lonely. Comments. Like,
we
follow,
have some
subscribe.
Really good comments lately. We're getting them. They're coming in.
On TikTok, we get a lot of good comments. We might even have enough to do like a comments segment on our episodes where we talk about the comments we get. Watch out, girl.
When you get those double-digit views.
Yeah. We're still not there.
Are we not kidding. For real?
We got there last week.
Okay.
Yeah, we're double digits.
Anyway.
We're up to 161 followers on Spotify, which is amazing.
Yeah.
I remember when 100 was our goal.
Yeah.
And then we met it, and now it's just like...
It's like, boom.
Landslide.
We met that. Well, we almost met it. I'm going to stop doing this. But we almost met it, and then we had to start all over.
Yeah, we did.
Thanks, Spotify.
Thanks a lot, Spotify.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Are we on Amazon? We used to be.
I'll have to see. We're on Apple Podcast.
Okay.
We'll get back on Amazon. And then
yeah.
So next week we've got our hot takes. And then we just have one more month left of season 4 before we take a little hiatus to give us a little brain break, a little breather, and maybe find a permanent location so we can quit moving around. I'm voting this too. I think
Caleb.
we done it. Brother.
Caleb, we moving in.
This is the basement of the house that I lived in when I was a kid. So
yes,
it's
and
very
it's
nice.
Perfect, and I love it. And he did work today to give this to us.
He did.
It was so nice.
These little nanolights.
Now we don't have to listen to my animals bark
or mine
or freaking my kids
or cart everything around to the camper and have everything look like we're on the ocean.
I did enjoy the camper.
I did too.
But I'm sure it's freezing.
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine.
But yeah, so we are
off topic. It's kind of
looking for. This might be it. This might not. But
we're looking for a home.
But we're homeless right now.
We are homeless.
But this couch is very comfortable.
I will say, I do want to make one final comment. Now that you said homeless, and it made me think of something.
Okay.
I feel like this podcast is helping in one of these stages. I feel like I get to really kind of dig into, and I hate that it's the adolescence one, but the identity versus role confusion, and kind of learn more about who I am and learn
100. I feel the same way.
We've talked about this a little bit.
We are getting to discover who we are because these conversations bring out things that I would never think about talking about.
Exactly. And I love it. I love that it kind of gives me a better sense of self. And it also helps me in that middle adulthood, the generativity. I feel like what I'm doing impacts other people.
Yeah.
And even if one person is different or makes a change in their life because of what we've talked about, that feels good. Yeah. So even if we get 7 views a week,
today,
I don't care.
This is my self-care. This is my self-care. I don't do anything for me really. This is although I am going to go to one of those head spas and get my hair washed.
Autumn went to one. It was at Oak Park Mall.
She did. While she was here?
Yes.
Girl, I gotta ask her about it.
Yeah.
I gotta talk to her about it. Autumn is about self-care. I'm really proud of her. She is good about that.
If you need a role model for self-care, find Autumn.
Yeah.
So on that, we're going to call autumn. We're going to figure out what that head spa looked like. I'm Bianca.
I'm Hannah.
And we are Taking Back Sunday. Establishing trust provides the foundation for secure relationships and confidence. I said relationships like I had marshmallows in my mouth. Relationships. Anyway, between 1 year. Did that sentence make sense? Did I read that right? Okay.
Right.
I got my Stitch Fix box today.
How did you like it?
They sent some good stuff. Like they sent some cute tops and 2 pairs of pants. It's like gonna end up being $186 if I keep it all.
So I just would like you to like send me pictures or do a fashion show. Fashion
show at lunch. It's from The Office.
Anyway, well, I've watched The Office a lot, but I guess I haven't seen that episode.
That's when Pam is buying new clothes, and that's Mindy Kaling's character is like fashion show. Anyway, yeah, I'll do it. I'll send you some pictures.
I did get something from The Office the other day that I'm going to do. When somebody doesn't know it's my birthday, I'm going to call and tell them happy birthday. And then they're going to be like, it's not my birthday. And you can be like, oh, I thought we shared birthdays.
I do remember that.
Michael.
I love, Michael Scott. Oh my gosh. Have you ever seen Scott's Tots, the episode where he like lied a decade before and said he would pay for all these kids to go to college if they graduated high school?
No.
And he can't pay for them. And they like throw this huge freaking ceremony for him. And he like has to get up and tell them that he can't pay for them. And he's like, but then he starts to talk about like, you need laptops for college and we've got batteries for those laptops. And that's all that they give. It's easily one of the cringiest episodes of that whole like series.
There's another show that kind of reminds me of The Office, but it's like a superstore.
I think that's what it's called. Superstore.
Is it?
It's like Walmart,
too.
Right?
Yeah, but let me tell you, one of the guys on there, his voice, I can almost watch it because he's supposed to be obnoustic.
I'll have to check it out.
It's too much.
I started watching, so Parks and Rec is similar to The Office, where it's got like the standing, whatever they call that, where they like do the interviews or whatever.
I love it.
Floating heads, is that what, I don't know. But then, it's an elementary. What is that?
Elementary school? No, that's stupid. I know what you're talking about.
It's on Hulu. Yes. I really like it. What the heck is it called?
Is it called like Bennett Elementary or
something like that? What is wrong with me? We'll figure it out.
Yeah,
that's the show. I like that a lot. They just came out with a new season. I need to get caught up. Abbott Elementary. That's what it's called.
Abbott.
Almost. Bennett's almost.
It smells so good.
All right. So
my laundry.
It does. It does. So the philosophical question for this stage is...
I'm going to need you to stop wiggling your toes.
Oh, you can't...
I know, but I can't. And it's like, what the hell is under the blanket? It took me like 10 minutes to realize it was your toes. Oh my God. I was like, what is happening?
I do that a lot. It's just a thing.
I will stop.